Well, I think we're pretty good. You know, out of the game, nothing really happened in the game, which is very fortunate. And anytime you can be 1-0 and not have any big injuries, it is a good thing. And so we can go back and work on the little things. We've added Mark back to our roster, and so that gives us some depth. And really, you know, our goal is to make our roster extremely competitive, not just down here with the ones, but in service teams. So adding a guy like Buck Allen to it, all those little guys that you can add as they come back in or that you signed or qualify, they make your team better because that's who you're going against, and that hurt us a lot last year. Our service teams were a lot of kids we just found that were going to school here that weren't even football players. So hopefully, but this is going to help us.
Is Tyler going to play this week against Utah?
Yes, he will. I don't know how much. That'll depend on how the week goes.
What was the basis for reinstating him?
Doing everything right. You know, he had a number of things that he had to do between myself and between Pat, and he did and completed all those things, and hopefully he'll continue that way.
How did he look? How has he looked since he came back?
He's looked very, very good. He did service team all week for us last week. He was very productive down there, worked really hard. I know they beat him up down there, which is what he needed after missing camp. So he still has a lot of work to do, but it's good to have a guy who's played a lot back. You know, as you look at that game Saturday and you reflect back on it and go over it again and again, you know, so many of the critical mistakes in that game were made by players who haven't played. And that's the norm, you know. Until you played, you haven't played, and so that showed up a lot in that game. You know, it wasn't the guys who played a lot making the mistakes. And, you know, it was the guys that was their first time playing. And so anytime that you can add a guy who's been there, done it, will usually play better than the guys right off the bat.
Are you looking to make some changes maybe at the offensive line this week?
Yeah, we're not going to get into specifics, but we're looking at everything. And obviously, we want to increase our level of play up there, be more consistent. And, hopefully, Abe gets back in that mix. He was our starting guard when he got hurt. So, and I think we'll be better. Even if nothing changes, we should be better because, like I mentioned, you know, 4 of those 5 guys had never played the position they were playing in a significant college game. So you're going to have some growing pains. And I had to remind myself of that too. Obviously, I was very critical after the game, but you know, with so many players offensively, I think the game was an example. So many of those guys offensively had never taken a snap of real football. And they're in there playing in critical situations. And defense, we had some more veterans. It was flopped from last year, and so I think that's why the opener was the way it was.
So speaking of being critical, it seemed like a lot of fans had a negative reaction to what you said on TV after the game about having 2 good players on offense. Do you regret phrasing it in that way, or do you still mean it?
Yeah, I do. You know, that's not the question. Was about what did you learn today, and really what I learned was that there were 2 guys that had great games, and so I didn't phrase it, and I told our offense that this morning too. You know, I didn't mean it that way. Obviously, we had some guys that did play well, but coming out of that game, the feeling was from watching that game there were 2 guys that played great on offense, and so I didn't phrase it the right way.
After watching the film, what area do you feel needs the biggest improvement now compared to maybe how you felt kind of emotionally after the game?
Same, really. Offensive line, consistency with the tight ends. I thought the receivers played really well. The quarterback played great. You can't diminish how well the quarterback played. You know, I know our offense has taken some hits for lack of production in the second half, but that wasn't his fault. You know, the guy was as good as you can play almost. And you know, I think at one point there, I think he's 20 of 22. You know, that didn't happen on air. So he played great. The running backs were fine. There's the offensive line and tight end that we need to be more consistent at in order to have a really good game. And it's not that hard. You know, we did it in the first half. You'll win every game you play if you don't turn the ball over, you don't get sacked, and you score touchdowns in 75% of your drives.